set it here. Yeah, he just gave it to me. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session in cause number M322936. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Cameron Austin Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Hernandez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Hernandez?
Good, man.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Hernandez, you're represented in your case by your attorney, John Macy. Attorney Macy, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Macy, do you have a record in Mr. Hernandez's case?
Yes, sir.
The state is represented in this case by Attorney Kobe Hawpower. Attorney Hawpower, how are you doing?
Good.
Mr. Hernandez, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Cameron Austin Hernandez, on or about December 25th of 2018, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of an accident involving damage to a vehicle. Mr. Hernandez, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Hernandez, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Mr. Hernandez, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials or a signature on the line next to the box that check guilty. Did you
Yes.
place your
Yes.
initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this
Yes, sir.
is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that
Yes, sir.
statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have before me on paper a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Mr. Hernandez, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney, Mr. Macy, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that Mr. Macy went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct,
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State. I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's number 1 in evidence?
Yes, sir.
Any objections, Mr. Macy?
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Macy, you've advised and counseled Mr. Hernandez. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hernandez, your attorney, Mr. Macy, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hernandez, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for plea of guilty no contest, state agreed to recommend 1 year deferred adjudication and community supervision. Waive the fine in this case, Your Honor. Court costs 80 hour community-based service, restitution of $1,000 payable to the complaining witness Frank Johnson in this
Say
case.
restitution, 1,000,
Yes, sir.
be able to, you say Frank Johnson?
Frank Johnson.
Frank.
And all other standard terms and conditions.
Mr. Hernandez, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation during the 1 year probationary period. You will not be required to pay a fine in this case. However, you will be required to pay court costs, and the court cost is $532. You'll also be required to pay a probation fee of $6 each month, or your analysis fee of $15 each month. You will be required to reimburse Jefferson County court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. You will also be required to pay a reimbursement fee. Now, your total monthly installments, that is, the total amount that you would be required to pay is $161 a month. And however, you're already on probation, so you will not have to pay a new probation fee. $60 will be taken off of this fee, and your analysis fee of $15 will also be taken off of this fee. So your total amount that you'll be required to pay, let me see if it's correct here. The total amount that you will be required to pay each month is that $86? Let me make sure. Say it's 86. Okay, the total amount you'll be required to pay each month is $88 a month.
Yes.
Will you be able to pay $88 each month?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you'll also be required to I think also in this here, I forgot to mention that you, in this $88 a month, the restitution is also included in that.
Yes, sir.
And so the restitution was $1,000 that'd be paid to Frank Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, once we take into consideration there's no fine, court costs of $553, and then we have the attorney's fees, the reimbursement fee, and the restitution, and it'll come out to $88 a month.
Yes, sir.
Now, you'll also be required to perform 80 hours of community service. Mr. Hernandez, and you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Hernandez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Hernandez, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you've entered into the court. Mr. Hernandez, if you successfully complete this probation, this case will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Now, Mr. Hernandez, you're gonna stand next to your attorney on the X that's on the floor in front of our court clerk. Follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir, you do.
And Mr. Macy, this is the last case that you have, so you'll be free to go as well. You have a blessed day. You are.
Do your right.
Hello, Judge.
Hey, Mr. Calmore, where's your client?
Judge, that case is to be dismissed. I apologize. I didn't have Mr. Johnson come back over because when we left felony court, the prosecutor told me that he would contact I guess Mr. Hoffpower and they'll do the dismissal.
Okay, that hadn't been done. Because we was in the court waiting.
Okay, I can get with Mr. Hoffpower and see if by getting that done.
Who's the lawyer?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were there. It's Dan.
All right, I'll
Daniel.
talk. Daniel.
He probably just didn't realize that the case was still waiting over there. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't tell him to hurry or anything. I apologize.
Okay. You doing that now? You need me to? Okay, hold on a minute. He's doing that right now.
Okay.